So I'm here with my friend Tim Storey. We go way back, and I'm really excited for this opportunity.
What a beautiful place you live in. Wow.
Thank you. But it makes it more beautiful when you're here. Hey Tim, so first off, like for people that, I mean, I don't know who doesn't know you, but maybe that 1% that doesn't know you, who is Tim Storey?
I think that Tim Storey is a guy that had a dream when I was little, growing up in kind of East LA area, Compton, California, of dreaming of making some type of impact in the world. You know, when you're little, you have a lot of ideas, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know you like sports, so I thought about maybe it's going to be sports, maybe it's going to be entertainment, but I didn't realize it was going to be in influencing people to have a better life. So I was just a young man with a dream from LA.
Yeah, and we're both half Mexican.
Yep.
For those of you that don't know, Tim is half Mexican. But I met you. Let's go back. And when I met you the first time, I was with Grant, and then he brought you. I don't know if you remember that time.
I do remember.
We were having dinner, I think, right?
Yeah, of
and
course.
then you came in, and then Lewis was there too. Remember? And then I asked you, like, "Hey Tim, I'm having this driven event."
Yes.
And then fast forward like 3.5 years later, or 4 years later, I think, or something like that. I don't remember the dates, but now you are here at my home, and you've mentored and helped so many powerful people. But like, what do you see in those 3 years that has changed, like, mostly?
Well, I think number one, when I first saw you, if you pay attention, you can tell when somebody's got it. It's like a special, like a little ding that's on somebody's head, which I believe is like the favor of God that's just on you. So I saw that. So I was excited about where your life was headed. And that's a beautiful thing about, I've been working in Beverly Hills since 1992, is that I've met so many people before they made it. I remember meeting Justin Timberlake when he was talking about, maybe taking acting classes, or I can go on and on different stars in this city back here that I saw before they made it, and then after they made it. I think with you, I saw you were going to make it. It wasn't just that you had the potential. I knew that you were going to make it. And so it's been a beautiful journey to actually watch you do what you've done the last 3 or 4 years.
And you know what? I don't feel like I've made it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like I made it at all. Like, I feel that I go through a lot of pain. I feel that I go through, every time I do something, I'm not satisfied. Like, when we finish this interview, I'm probably going to feel like, man, I should have asked him this question, and I should have said this better. And I grew up with insecurities.
Yes.
I grew up with an accent. I grew up with people making fun of me, calling me wetback, telling me things to, like, go back to Mexico and things like that. My parents are hardcore from Mexico City.
Yeah.
And they grew up with fear, and I grew up and I was introduced to fear. Now how do people, and I know I kind of got out of that to get here, but I don't feel like I'm successful. And how do people that have a lot of fear, like, how do they make it out of there? And then once you get here, like, you tell me, and a lot of people tell me that I'm successful, but I don't feel successful. Is that normal?
It's very normal. And I think the key is we have to learn to enjoy where we are on the way to where we're going. And you've heard me say this, because you come to some of my speeches, is that you may not be what you want to be, but thank God you're not what you used to be. So if I was like coaching you, I'd say, okay, Albert, let's look back to when you used to go on Sunset Boulevard and you would be in a restaurant and you could only afford, something that was under $30. So that's not where you are now. So you may not be what you want to be, but thank God you're not what you used to be. So again, let's enjoy where we are on the way to where we're going. But the enjoyment of where you are is so important. And you have to take time to pause for applause and say, hey, look what I got. I got an amazing wife in Seal. I got 2 amazing children. I just talked to your mother and your father. They're both still alive. They're part of your life. So important to pause for applause. You got to do it.
Yeah, like, talk about Kobe for a little bit. Did you ever meet Kobe?
Yes.
Like, did that impact your life in any way, or?
Yeah, 100%. Because I think that a Kobe Bryant you got to go back to the early days of kind of being like you, not fitting in. Because his dad was a basketball player, and he was a basketball player. He was good, but he wasn't great. So part of it is he had to play overseas. So, Kobe was in all these overseas countries, as you know. But the guy could speak Spanish, he could speak Italian, and was a heck of a soccer player. So one of the things I like about Kobe is that he learned to adjust and adapt to his surroundings. And I think this thing that we call the mamba mentality is something that didn't happen overnight. It's something that evolved. And so I think if we look at your life, is that you are evolving, because you definitely have the mindset. You have the mindset, okay? And then you also have the fight and the determination. So now what I'm looking for out of you is longevity, is to keep on keeping on, to stay on the yellow brick road, because a lot of people, they start real strong and then they don't stay real strong. But this is what all the leaders are saying about you. Grant Cardone, Ed Milet, Lewis Howes, Tim Storey, we're all saying that we see you just going from dimension to dimension. You're going to do it. You're going to stay on that path, just like Kobe Bryant did.
Yeah. Do you feel like Kobe lived every day like it was his last day? Because I kind of feel like he was so passionate with his daughters and he with his family, and obviously like everybody, we go through ups and downs. Everybody makes mistakes. Do you think like he lived his day to the fullest, like every day?
I think 100%. But again, I think that wasn't always the way it was. I think that if you were to go into his childhood, because he was funny and he liked jokes and he liked to make pranks, etc. But I think that the idea, he tells his story that you probably heard as well, that when he was playing basketball when he was 11 and he was on the team, that for the whole season he didn't score 1 point.
Wow.
And he said that he did not like that feeling. Okay. So it reminds me of your story, and the fact that when you kept feeling less than, when you felt that people are being prejudiced towards you, you get to the point where you get sick and tired of being regular, tired of being bloated, tired of being broke. You got to get to that point where you're tired of being tired. And that's, again, what happened to Kobe Bryant. And he created this mindset that became the Mamba mentality.
So you think he had some insecurities when he was growing up?
There's no doubt about it. Yeah, I mean, when you have a traveling father and, and the father was busy doing things, because don't ever forget this. The father in a child's life is supposed to do three things: guide them, which is direction; guard them, which is protection; govern them, which is administration. One of the things I love about you and Seal, you're really into your kids. I mean, I actually get a kick out of watching how you handle your kids.
Yeah.
Playing around with them, playing jokes with them, challenging them. And so I think with Kobe, that his father, according to his story, was not always there at the beginning, guiding, guarding, or governing. So then he kind of had to man up on his own. And so I think that was even part of the challenge with Shaquille O'Neal, that Shaq had to man up on his own, because Shaq had a similar situation with his father being gone all the time. So it was like two young guys when they played for the Lakers manning up at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Tim, these powerful individuals that you've met, like from Grant Cardone to Kanye West and many, I know you're friends with Oprah.
Yes, very close.
Oprah's a multi-billionaire, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
Let's start with Oprah. Because I want to prepare myself for maybe one day, hopefully I'll become a billionaire, and that way I could help many, many more people, because that's my purpose.
Yeah.
But a person like Oprah, I noticed that when people are that wealthy, they're a lot different. Like they become like more humble and giving, and they're more down to earth. Like I met a billionaire who lives here, and he's like the most simplest, nicest, humble guy. And how is Oprah?
Oprah is, I would consider her a real good friend. We do a lot of projects together. We have a project that we're looking to do together, even like right now, like a real big one. And one of the things that you'll see with people that get into that crazy kind of money is they got some kind of a break, okay? And so what you'll see, you know, in the Boston Marathon, there's over 30,000 runners. So they're all packed in together. But the Kenyans are the ones that usually win the Boston Marathon. If you were to Google today, you'll see that the Kenyans from Kenya usually win the marathon.
Yeah.
And part of that is for several reasons. I'll tell you very quickly. One, they train going uphill. Secondly, they train in extreme heat on purpose. Another thing that they have a running style, okay? So they train like Kenyans. So in my opinion, guys like yourself, Gary Vee, Grant Cardone, Ed Milet, Sam Bakhtiar, Tim Storey, we all train like Kenyans. But man, you're still going to need some breaks. So we have broke out of the 30,000 in the Boston Marathon.
Yeah.
So now let's say like there's 12 of us in this
Left,
group.
yeah.
Okay. Somebody's going to like take off in the spot 1, 2, or 3. That's where Oprah went, Richard Branson, right? Jeff Bezos.
Yeah.
And I think part of that is breaks, a break. But here's what most people do. They don't pay attention to the break. They don't pay attention. That sometimes they're so focused or so uptight. You got to pay attention when that break hits. Because when you get a break, then you go through the break and you have a breakthrough. Some people have a break sit. You need a breakthrough.
Yeah.
So I need you to look for that, because over the next months of your life, you're going to get some breaks. And it may be somebody you meet that doesn't look like a guy that you need to know.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a breakthrough. Happened to Oprah, it's going to happen to you.
Do you think it's normal? Because for me, like I'll speak based on my experience. I mean, only 3 years ago, like I was barely able to afford Driven 1.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know the story, but I don't know if I told you this, but Grant, I was broke. I had $50,000 in my bank account.
Yeah.
This is a little bit over 3 years ago when we did Driven, but I had close to a couple million stuck in the 1031 exchange. So I was transferring money to buy apartments.
Of course, yeah.
But I had no money that I could touch. I could get it out, but I couldn't do that, really. So I had 50,000. So I was kind of broke, and I had the company, but I came back and I told Sil, we got to do Driven. It worked for Grant, 10X, let's do Driven.
Oh, yeah.
And then I asked friends, a partner, hey, let's go 50-50. I just need you to give me 25, and I'll put 25 that way, because I was thinking inside, like, I need those 25 there as reserves, but I want to take that risk because I want to have that breakthrough. So nobody wanted to do it. Nobody wanted to take the risk. And you know me, I like to take risks, and I like to live on that line to have that growth. So I said, okay, well, you know what? I'm going to give Grant his 50% deposit.
Yeah.
I'll figure out the rest later, and I'm going to give the Ritz 50%, so which was another 25. So I got rid of like 50, and then I'm like, oh man, oh shit. Now I have to create.
Yeah, now what?
So now I started creating, and then I sold tickets to fund the event, and I did it on my own because nobody wanted to help me. Nobody wanted to invest money in my idea because I didn't have experience, and that turned out to be a breakthrough.
Yes.
But then I grew, and then I'm like, I need another breakthrough. And then I go here and take another risk and do something weird, and everybody's scared. I scare my wife so much, and then and now it's more people, and I take another risk, and it's always like I'm always putting myself in these situations to grow. Is this normal, or am I just some sort of crazy guy?
Okay, number one, it's not normal because I don't know if you remember this, but there was a time we lived in Whittier, and across the street was this high school called Pioneer High School.
Yeah.
But if you go to these high schools, a lot of them, they had diving boards. And watch what they did. They had the low dive, the middle dive, and the high dive. Okay?
Yeah.
So I remember when I was 8 years of age, a couple of my friends were saying, we're going to jump off the high dive. But I didn't know what I was getting myself into. We went up this ladder, and we got up there, man. It was so high that at 8, I froze.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, I went down the ladder. And I'll never forget them going, chicken, chicken. I mean, that was back in the day, man, to say chicken. Chicken, 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 chicken. So I had to go all the way down from the high dive all the way down. So I hated that feeling, okay? So I think that you have had some experiences where you were at the high dive and maybe you did not jump and you didn't like the feeling. And so I think the thing that makes you not normal, not standard, not regular, uncommon, that I love about you is that you're willing to go up the ladder, look at how far it is to jump, and you still doggone jump.
Yeah, you know, I just think that it's my responsibility to take the bullets and to not complain and not show weaknesses to my people because they look up to me and they seem I'm like their protector. So like from the company, from my wife, it's my children. I don't want them to. I want to take on the bullets. I want to take on the fear, and I want to be the best leader I can be.
Yes.
And everything started from my childhood when I used to paint with my dad. Mm-hmm. And when I grew up in school, you know, they made fun of me and they called me things like wetback and those kind of things. So when I grew up, I decided, you know what, I'm gonna do everything. And I'm not going to quit. And I always wanted to speak on stage. Yeah. And I never got the opportunity. And so I self-funded my own event because that was the only way somebody would allow me on a stage. And then the first Driven, like I share the stage with somebody like you that's spoken like everywhere. Like, what's the biggest crowd you ever spoken in front of?
85,000.
85,000. And nobody speaks like better than you. Like it's almost impossible for someone to go up after you.
Well, thanks.
But I just like I don't know I just do those things and is that a kind of the way Kanye was and all these people?
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, because I get to be around the biggest, the best. I mean, I got to see Robert Downey as he was calculating his career from going from where he was to doing Iron Man and just blowing up in Iron Man, and you know, so many actors. And I get to talk to people's mothers and, you know, have lunch with Brad Pitt's mom and find out how, you know, he does things, or Katy Perry's parents, and, you know, different people that I get to be around. You get behind the scenes and see how they do things. But if you don't mind, I want to throw in a word, and the word is wisdom. Okay? And what I feel like I see you growing in the last 3 to 4 years is wisdom. And wisdom is very, very, very important, because wisdom says, okay, let me survey the court. Okay, let's go back to a basketball illustration, because you love basketball, so do I. When Magic Johnson would come down, remember?
Yeah.
Okay, he may have James Worthy here, Byron Scott over here, Jabbar over here.
Yeah.
And what's he doing? He's coming down, maybe Jamal Wilkes. He's surveying the court. That's what you're doing now. You're surveying the court.
Yeah.
Bounce pass here, alley-oop to Jabbar. So that's wisdom. And so it's not like we're just taking crazy risk, you know, behind the back passes for no reasons. So we are using wisdom, going down the court and seeing what is the decision to make at that moment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like right now, I'm living the dream. Like being here next to you is a dream. Like I used to idolize you, but you're still a person that I see like an idol. But I used to idolize you from the outside. Now I idolize you from the inside. And it's like what Ed Milet told me. Like when your heroes become your mentors and they become your friends.
Yes.
Is that a quality that you've seen from other people?
Well, I tell you that it's a biblical idea. And I know you've been raised in Catholicism, and so have I. Is that, you know, in the Bible you had Moses, then you had Joshua, you had Elijah, then you had Elisha. So you had great men, and they would mentor great men. But the thing that the older man gets from the younger man is the passion and the fight. So maybe a guy like a Tim Storey stirs your life up for what, you know, I've been able to do. But I need to be around you because I see your passion, I see your drive, I see breaks that you're getting that maybe I didn't get. And so I'm thinking, man, okay, if I'm Moses and he's Joshua and he's next, look at this Joshua, what he's learning, what he's doing, how it's happening. So now we're learning from each other. So that's the beautiful thing about the older, lion and the younger lion. We're both lions.
Yeah.
We can learn from each other.
Do you think anybody can get wisdom?
Yes. Wisdom is inside of you, but you have to really pay attention. Because what happens is that, because you're raising 2 children, you see that as your children get up and get older, they start to say, okay, don't touch that. Don't touch this. And it's not always that you tell them. There's just something that says to them, even about heights or whatever, that, be wise in this area. Or maybe even if they see a stranger, you don't even have to maybe sometimes say, don't talk to strangers. They just kind of feel it. So that's wisdom that we would call innate wisdom. But you can grow in wisdom, and there's 3 ways you grow. One is education, and that's what you've done. You've educated yourself. You did not know everything about the business that you're in, so you educated yourself. Isn't that true?
Yeah.
Okay. The second way you grow in wisdom is observation. You watch people. You came into Beverly Hills, you started watching people. How do they eat? How do they eat? How do they walk? How do they drive? How are they working out at Equinox? Education, observation, okay? So the education and the observation of the watching, the third is a beautiful part, and that is the conversation. The bigger you get, the greater your conversations, because now people want to talk to us, and that's what's trippy. I remember one time being in an award show, and out of nowhere came Prince. Like Prince the singer. Yeah. He wanted to chop it up with me. So I lived such a crazy life that people that I looked up to my whole life, now they want to chop it up with me and they want to talk. So those conversations give us more wisdom.
Yeah, now being in the right environment, I was sitting next to Lionel Richie. and then I told him, I used to be the TA, teacher assistant to your daughter. Wow. And then we just started having a conversation, but that would never happen if I weren't here.
Yes.
Because as a little kid, my mom I used to take the bus to Granada Hills to get out of the ghetto. Yeah. Get out of the shootings and the drug dealing area to go to the valley and go to school. Now we were having a conversation earlier. Now Beverly Hills High School is I could jump with the floater and just land right there. So how important is the environment, and if somebody right now is going through maybe they have bad habits, they're using drugs, excessive alcohol, and things like that. How important is it to get rid of toxic people and to get into a better environment?
Environment is everything. In fact, if you're in the wrong environment for too long, whether you like it or not, it's going to suck you in. So you could be the right person with the right plan. And see, this is where people mess up. They watch you, they watch myself, they watch other speakers that they look up to. And they all want to be the right person. You see that look in their eye. Even at Driven, man. Yeah. Man, your Driven conference, we'll get into that in a minute. That thing was phenomenal.
Yeah, thank you.
But you could be the right person with the right plan. Okay, I'm the person with the plan. But you need the right partners. And the partners have to have 2 things: a similar mindset and similar motives. See, you can't afford to hang out with people that don't have similar motives as you, because if these guys are rascals, you're not a rascal. You're into your wife, you're into your kids. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If you ever watch Tim Storey, I always leave places early. You will never see me close shop. I'm not closing places down.
Yeah.
Because there's a certain mindset and certain motives that I have to maintain to keep this level of excellence. I started at 20 years of age kicking butt in the speaking world. I'm in my 50s and still kicking butt in the speaking world. But that's not by accident. I had to keep that same dimension. So person, right plan, you need the right partners.
Now, Tim, what about family?
Yeah.
Let's say, because I would be really, I'm really interested to know your opinion on this, because you're such an amazing person that's so caring about people. what do you do when your mom or your dad or your brother or your sister are toxic? Like
Yes.
just in general, because I know a lot of people are going through like a toxic brother, a toxic sister, or a toxic mom or a toxic dad.
Yes.
Like, what do you do? Do you have to separate them and be a little selfish?
What happens is that every family has toxic people in it, and this is the thing that we didn't know until we got up here, right?
Yeah.
And so we used to think that like people from our culture, we were just the toxic ones. I remember when my tío, when I was only 10 years of age, he's like, Timmy, have a beer. I go, I'm 10. He goes, it's a good time to start. You know, I'm like, okay. I used to just think it was just our people, right?
Yeah.
But no, man, because I life coach the biggest people in the world, from Beverly Hills to Fisher Island and Miami, where I just was 3 days ago, to Paris, France. You know, I've been to 75 countries of the world. You know, life coaching the elite. They got the same crap going down.
Yeah.
So the thing is, it's very important to manage our lives and protect our lives. But it's also very important to realize that we can so protect ourselves and be so healthy that out of our overflow, we can still help our brother, help our sister, help our cousin. And that's what we're about, man.
Yeah.
So we can stay healthy and still out of our overflow help our family members. I'm all about that, because I think what's happening with you is that when you got your break, as we talked about earlier, if you notice, your cousins will start walking like you, talking like you. They'll have like swag like you, right?
Yeah.
So I have a little niece and nephew. They call me Great Uncle Tim. And I always say to them, don't ever stop that. That's a good name.
Yeah.
But they look up to me,
Yeah.
and they're tiny. Yeah.
So let's say you're little Timmy,
Yeah.
and maybe it's your mom or maybe it's your brother or something like that. Would you kind of leave at some point and then help him from far, help him from the outside, or would you stay there?
There is a time to separate.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of times, if you are in a toxic environment and that toxic environment is just tearing you apart, you need to helicopter yourself out of there. And that might be by going off to college, okay? Maybe getting your own place, getting a roommate. But I would say that when you're 18 years of age, and if you have that opportunity, if you can, do so. But go ahead.
So look for a positive distraction.
100%.
Yeah, not a negative distraction. Because a lot of people will use a negative distraction.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. Now, I didn't want to interrupt you, though. You were going to say something, but it was probably gold.
No, well, I was just going to say that I had to do that myself, because, you know, the ceiling at my house,
Yeah.
with my Latin mother, she had been through hell. You know, both of her parents had passed when she was really young. So at 13, my mother, Vicentita Gonzalez, she had to raise herself, man, and she was hardcore. And you know, we all know about the chancla, man. If you're not acting right, you're gonna get the shit kicked out of you, for no reason.
Yeah.
So my mother was about that, but she was too hardcore. So, and she used to put things in my mind that were not always right, like watch out for those people. Those people are bad, or watch out for that race. It was just the way she was raised. Does this make any sense to you?
A lot. Like I grew up with my family telling me that like screw the gringos. Like the gringos, white people are bad. And so I grew up with like, damn, the white people are bad. So when I go to school, I'm like shocked.
So you understand?
Yeah.
Okay. So my mother was so hardcore like this. I thought she was going to change at a certain point, but it seemed like it got worse. So at 15, 16, 17, 18, she's putting that in my system. When I started realizing that, no, not all these people that she says are bad are so bad. I love my mom, but I need to helicopter myself out of here.
Yeah.
So that's when I ended up going to college all the way in Florida. And she was ticked at me at first. She used to call me like, oh, you're gone uppity. In fact, I have a sister that ended up modeling. And she moved to Newport Beach, And my mother used to call her Miss Newport Bitch.
That's so funny. Tim, I have a question now. When you speak, you've been speaking since 20, right?
Since I was 20, yeah.
And you probably spoken, do you know how many times, more or less?
Well, I mean, I've spoken to millions and millions of people in person because many, many times, 30,000, 50,000, 58,000, 63,000.
All over the world.
All over the world, yeah. My average attendance in my speeches was right at about 1,500 every single week, and would go as high as 7,000, 8,000 every single week. So I just learned how to do it, yeah.
Are you speaking more today, or were you speaking more like 10 years ago or 20 years ago?
No, I'm still doing all that kind of thing. But what I enjoy is I still like speaking at the big conferences and, blowing stages up.
Yeah.
I still enjoy that. But kind of a thing I'm loving now is like being a player coach. I like seeing the new generation like you guys rise up, because I think that some of the mistakes that I made, you don't have to make.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so I think that that's what I enjoy. I still enjoy speaking at the big platforms, blowing places up, but I also like if somebody wants to listen,
Yeah.
pulling them aside if they want to talk and say, hey, if I was you, I'd consider boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you are the mentor of my mentors. You mentor people that are so powerful, billionaires, and they're like, what do I do next? And you mentor them. So I was thinking, like, they are in their 60s. Most of them are in their 60s.
Yeah.
But now the millennials, I feel, are the future.
Yes.
And I feel like the millennials could outpace the 60-year-olds right now because of technology and social media.
There's no doubt about it.
So with the information that you suck like a sponge, like, what are your thoughts on that? Are millennials the future, and can millennials become like let's just say a Grant Cardone, a Ned Milet faster with technology?
No doubt about it. So Oprah Winfrey just sent me to a school in the East Coast. It's a private school, and she wanted me to speak at this prestigious school. It's all boys. And so I was talking to, in that case, the Z generation. And what I found by speaking to about 350 at one time, then I broke down to another group of 75, another group of 40, then I had a group of about 12, okay? Man, these kids are fired up.
Yeah.
They are fired up. It's coming out of their eyeballs. And so to me, that's exciting, because it's almost like LeBron James, great basketball player, but he has learned from guys like Tim Duncan on how to do a certain step back fadeaway shot. He learned from like an Akeem Olajuwon how to play tough on the inside.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And so I think what I've brought to the game by being around the masters.
Yeah.
Like I was just somewhere, I can't say who I was with, but I was probably with, and I'll tell you off this camera, I was probably with one of the top 10 most powerful entertainers in the world. Okay? So you learn from these people.
Oh, yeah.
And the house I was in was like, holy schmoly. I mean, we've seen houses, but then it just gets ridiculous. So I can learn those lessons and put them in the spirit, in the minds of these young people. And you're exactly right. Because of technology, right? Because of everything being so quick, because of audiobooks, because of podcasts like yours, they are learning in such a quick way that everything is being sped up. It's being sped up.
Like, for example, the Kardashians. You know the Kardashians?
Yes.
Kim, like it took her long. I mean, she's still young, but it took her a lot of years to get to where she is.
Yes.
Kylie Jenner went like 18 or 19-year-old billionaire just that.
You said that perfectly. So Robert Kardashian, Kim's father, who's in heaven, was my great friend. And you know, I do these events in Beverly Hills.
Yes.
He came to those for like 11 years. So I knew Kim way, way back. And of course, you know, I'm super close with Kanye. So I know Kim, I know Kanye, but you're exactly right. What took Kim all those years, Kylie, the youngest, you know, gets the mother, who's pretty smart, Kris Jenner, and they create this whole Kylie Cosmetics, and she becomes a woman that is right around a billionaire. So
Yeah.
it sped up, just like you said.
Now, Tim, now going on to the extreme opposite, like let's say Mike Tyson, and I love Mike Tyson. He was my favorite boxer, my favorite heavyweight boxer. Why do a lot of people get to the top and then lose it? They don't keep it.
Yes. So I would consider Mike a friend. So I'm around Mike, and I spent some really great quality time with him not too long ago, and I was just at his celebrity golf tournament. But so whether it be Mike or other people, it comes back to this. You're going to love this one. In the Bible, in the book of Proverbs, it says, "He who spends time around fools will become a fool himself." Okay, this is powerful. Okay, a fool in the Bible means somebody who knows better but walks over the better that he knows. Now, think about this. Some of our uncles, bless their heart, they're a little bit fools, right?
Yeah.
Some of our tias, sometimes we're fools, right? Some of our kids in the neighborhood, sometimes we're fools.
Yeah.
So the Bible says if you spend time with fools, you'll become a fool yourself, and watch, and your life will unravel. So that's a key. See, whenever you see a powerful woman or man, watch their posse. Who's their posse? If their posse is not correct, they're going to get thrown off every time.
In today's world, do you still keep improving your network?
100%. And there's guys that I've had to like slide back, but it's not like I didn't necessarily tell them to their face. I just didn't text them as often.
So this is a good sign. You're still keeping me close.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, because again, and let me just say this to you.
Yeah.
My son's a fan of yours.
Really?
My mother's a fan of yours. My best friends are a fan of yours because, again, you represent our people. Okay? So, you could hear this, but when I say you represent our people, I was just in Miami, and I was hanging out with some of our people. And guy who doesn't know I know you that well is bragging about you. That's a big deal. And it's kind of surreal, isn't it? That you're just doing your thing, and I'm over at some cool Cuban restaurant and some guy's bragging about you. See, that's awesome. I remember one time I was in Istanbul, Turkey. This was just 3 years ago. And I'd flown first class to Turkey. I had to do something. I'm walking through this beautiful airport there, and a lady's going, "Tim Storey, Tim Storey." So I turn around. I'm in Turkey. And she goes, "I don't mean to bother you, but oh my gosh, I live here in Turkey, and I saw you on Oprah Winfrey, Super Soul Sunday. You changed my life. The life coach to the stars." I go, "You're from Turkey?" She goes, "Oh my God, I'm your biggest fan. Can I hug you?" I thought, man, that's a long way from East LA.
Yeah, I mean, like we both came from the barrio, right?
Exactly.
Hey, Tim. So I want to know your opinion on drugs and alcohol.
Yeah.
Can people be successful taking drugs, using drugs and alcohol, or maybe if you control them, or like what's your opinion on that? I know I don't want to create controversy, but
no,
but
I got to go right at it, and I think that the reality is this. I think if somebody drinks wine in moderation, I don't have a problem with it. If somebody is drinking to cover something, to mask something, to heal something, it's not going to work. If somebody is doing drugs to mask something, heal something, it's not going to work. So I think the drug side, we should pick it up and just say, that's not for me. Okay? I know a lot of our friends that they are really good in understanding wines, and they go wine tasting and that, and they keep it within moderation. And a lot of really brilliant people that I know, I don't have a problem with that. But if you feel like you have a problem and that's one of your triggers, you got to pick that damn thing up and just leave it right over here. It's not worth it, man. Don't bring something into your life that will sabotage you.
Yeah.
So I think I'm hardcore with that. You're hardcore with that because of things that we've seen in our family. Like my own brother passed. He died because of an alcohol addiction. So that's why I think you know this, that I am a owner of rehab clinics. And you always hear me talk about rehab. I'm always going into other people's rehabs and speaking for free and helping with prison reform with Robert Downey Jr. and everything that we're doing at ARC, Scott Budnick, all the team there. You know, we care about our own people. So back to drugs and alcohol, you know, most people should just probably take it and put it right there.
Now, powerful celebrities versus powerful entrepreneurs. So, like,
Yes.
for example, a Kanye West, a Kim Kardashian, and Grant Cardone and Ed Milet. Both people, a group of people have problems and ups and downs and wins and all that. Do they have the similar downfalls and the similar strengths?
A lot of similarities. In fact, you'll see this, like if you were to go to a Laker game and see Denzel Washington there, who's there a lot. Denzel admits that there's times he thought, man, I wish I was on that team. But maybe a LeBron is going, man, I wish I was Denzel. That's just how it works. So I think that anybody who has learned to go to that utmost place in their profession, whether it's an entrepreneur or an actor or a singer, there's similarities there. But the beautiful thing now is that we could do it all. So as you know, I speak, I'm in the movie business, I do plays, I'm now acting now. You know, I'm going to play a general in a movie. And I got a new TV show coming out next year. I got a new thing on AMC theaters just on Tim Storey coming out next year. So I don't think we just have to choose one. I think like with your life, you're going to be doing like 10.
Yeah.
You're going to be doing 10 of them. So I think that you know, business is part, but you're going to be doing a lot at the same time.
Now, when you speak, do you prepare yourself for your presentation, or since you do a lot of them, it's like Casanova, he was so good with women, right? Are you like the Casanova of speaking, where you show up and you could bang it out?
Okay, I'm the opposite of Casanova in this case, where I'm a studying junkie. So what, Albert, I have probably 7 people that I pay to do research for me. So right now I'm teaching on the uncommon life. So I just been studying all these notes that have been coming from all these researchers. On this one alone, I've got 4 researchers. So I must have about 33 pages of notes typed out on what it means to be uncommon. And I study these notes over and over and over and over and over. So that's why when you see me on stage and it seems like it explodes out of me, because it's coming out of my pores. So I'm releasing that game. It's like, again, go back to Kobe. He worked so hard in the gym that when he was finally on the court, what did he do? Boom, he exploded. So I am a studier. I study 15 hours for every 30-minute speech. 15 hours. So you can take me anywhere and I'll just go. Anywhere. I could feel a crowd and the crowd is off and I'll call an audible. I go that way. Boom, 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 boom. And it looks like, oh man, he's just like Jay-Z, he's freestyling. Nope. I'm taking all that doggone research and boom.
One of my favorite things about you that I learned is when you say, look at me.
Look at me.
Because most people are so unfocused, and I use that all the time. I'm like, look at me. And I use that with Till too. I'm like, look at me.
Yes.
Because most people, they're talking to you, and they're like, yeah. And then put your phone down. And then like 30 seconds later, like they're again like, oh, I got an email, I got a text, and
Yes.
when you're speaking, I noticed from the first time I saw you, I noticed you were like, look at me.
In front of anybody. I could have, I have Oprah sometimes sitting there if I'm teaching her staff, which I get to do that, or if she's in one of my meetings, or Brene Brown, or Deepak Chopra, or Iyanla Van Zandt, whoever it is, I do the same thing. Because one of the things that happens is that you have a very strong spirit. Here's what people are missing in life. They think that it's just all about the physical temple, which I do believe that we should definitely stay in shape. So, almost all the guys that we know, all of us exercise, okay? So you got to stay in shape. And you got to keep your mind renewed and be a meditator and a thinker. So your mind has to be right. But your spirit man, man, that's where the fire is. And so I see fire coming out of your eyeballs, okay? You see fire coming out of my eyeballs. So when I say to a big crowd, look at me, you know what happens all of a sudden? Watch how they do it. You never see them fight back with me. You don't see them like, I ain't looking. Because I command that kind of respect in the spirit.
What are your top two tricks or your top two advice that you would give a speaker, like somebody that started with no experience and then they became semi good, and then they want to become better. Like for me, as an example, maybe use me as a dummy. Like I gotten a little bit better in speaking from the first time you saw me, I think. But what would you tell me to improve, and how can I connect? How can I become maybe just 50% of you?
Okay, so number one, I thought you were good from the first time I saw you. But now what you have done is you have to own your subject, okay? And when somebody owns their subject, they cannot be stopped. So if Ed Milet is teaching on max out, that's his subject. Grant Cardone, 10X. Tim Storey, setback to comeback. There's certain things I cannot be beat in doing. So what's happening is your subject is becoming more defined. And the more your subject comes out, you just start owning that subject, right? It's like Michael Jordan, like he used to think to himself, okay, you guard me outside, that's not working. I'm going to stick my tongue out and I'm going inside and I'm going to do this layup. So once you get a revelation of a subject, you cannot be stopped. So number one that you have to do, get a revelation of a subject. So what would you say is one of your favorite subjects to teach on?
Inspiring millennials and changing a lot of lives for the Hispanic community.
Okay. All right. So if I was coaching you, I need you to own that subject for the next 12 months. I need you to find out other Latin leaders, what they did. You need to know about my friend Manny Medina in Miami, who's got that big conference of 13,000, which I will introduce you to him. You need to find out about other Latin leaders from all over the world, what they said, what they did, how they acted, how people responded to them. Latin leaders from even 100 years ago. I'm not saying you're not doing that, but that's what you need to do. So once you start to own that revelation, okay, that revelation starts to manifest out of you. So the second thing, how to be a better speaker, okay, is don't speak to try to impress people or to move an audience. I never am speaking to move a crowd or to try to show what a great speaker I am. I am speaking to deliver the mail. I'm the mailman.
Yeah.
I want to deliver the mail. And so when you start thinking, man, I got a message, man. I see that dude in the second row, and I know for a fact he's not doing that well. I got to deliver the mail to that guy to help change his life, because if I could change his life, I may change his whole family.
Awesome. And when you're speaking, do you ever halfway through your speech change it and you're like, you know what, this audience is not fully getting this. I need to switch to a different way of.
I think that's where I became a master, and most guys are not that good.
Yeah.
I see guys that speak, and I'm going, it's not working. He's trying to use high energy on a low energy crowd. So here's something to think about. If the crowd's energy is at a 4, don't take them to a 10. Take them to a 7. Okay? If a crowd's energy is at a 7, then take them to a 10. So I find so many people that their thing is like they're meditating like the day before. I'm going to blow them away. Wait till I get on that driven stage. We see them bomb. Okay? It's true?
Yeah.
Okay? No, they didn't read the crowd well. So if you're a boxer and you're coming in here and that's not working, you better change your game. So I changed my game a lot midstream. And the more you get around me, you're going to watch me do it. You're going to be like, look at Tim, look at Tim. Oh, he just shifted. Boom, I just went that way.
No, I've seen it. I've seen it on and on and on. That's why I have so much respect for you, and so does Sale. And I mean, everybody. It's. I don't think there's one person in this world that doesn't like you. Like, I think you're like one of those people that just everybody likes. And you're also an amazing communicator.
Thank you.
Like the best I've seen. Like, what two things do you think are what stand out from you and the way you communicate? Because I've seen you communicate with a lot of powerful people.
Thank you. Well, one of the things that I do that I want you to start doing more often is several days a week I read out loud. So I have a book and I'll read the book out loud. And the reason I do read out loud because I want my diction to be right. I want everything to speak. If I say, when you have a setback, don't take a step back, get ready for the comeback. While you're feeling the sting of your setback, don't forget that God is preparing your comeback. Notice how it just went bam, 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 bam. So that's what Oprah said. She goes like, Tim, I've heard them all. Holy, whoa, your words just stick. Part of that is reading out loud. So I learned to form each word that every word sticks. Most guys don't do that. So reading out loud has been a good tool for me. And also finding a few happy people in the audience. I don't look for the ones that are grouchy and try to make them not be that way. Like most speakers, here's what they do. If they saw a guy in the third row like this, that guy's going to frustrate them. I'm not even looking at that guy.
Yeah.
I'm looking for this guy. It's good, right?
Very good. I also see, know that you say good a lot. You say that's good. That's good. That's good.
That's good.
Is there something behind that?
Yeah, because I'm encouraging myself.
Yeah, because you'll say something and then you're like, "That's good. That's good," and then everybody's like, "Yeah."
Yeah,
it's
like LeBron doing this or that.
Yeah, powerful, man. So in the mornings when I'm reading and I'm being silent to not wake up the babies and Sil, should I just go and go inside the restroom and just read out loud?
Yeah, but not every day. Even if you did it 3 times a week out of 7 days, if you read out loud, I need your diction just to be like on. So, see, I want to get you what I would consider Oprah ready, because you got to remember, Oprah is seeing everybody. So when you speak for her at one of her big events, okay, you want to be not only where your material is just crystallized, you want your presentation for your words to just stick. And every word's a hook. Every word's a hook. Every word's a hook. If you notice, I'm hooking you nonstop.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to get left before you get right. So I'm hooking you. So that's why I could run into somebody at the airport and they'll say, man, I saw you 25 years ago. And they'll tell me the exact speech that I gave 25 years ago.
And you know what like a tip for the audience that's watching this, when you start hanging around with better people, you just don't have enough time to hang out with the other people, and you keep getting better and better and better. And spending time with you and all the greats has made me better in every way, communicating, speaking, intelligence-wise. And when you get so good, it's hard to communicate with people that are like in level 1.
Yes.
So level 1, level 10, you speak, I'm sure, all day long with people that are at the level billion, and also with people that are at the level negative.
Yes.
Right?
100%.
Like, how do you change it up? Because sometimes when you go down to a low level, you have to bring yourself down with him to bring him up, right?
100%. So you're right. A lot of people that I life coach are people that maybe they went to Yale, they went to Princeton, they went to Harvard, like for real. I mean, the things they say is kind of mind-boggling to me. They're like, yeah, my little daughter, Kirsten, she just graduated from Yale, and my son just got his master's at Harvard. for our families, right?
Yeah.
We were excited, like if somebody went to Rio Hondo. Makes sense?
Yeah.
Like, hey, they went to Mount Sac, which, those are good schools. But what I try to do is I still try to learn at a certain level where I want to know top level thinking. So I'm constantly studying like philosophers and just brilliant minds, male and female. But then if you're a really good coach, you can then bring it down to a certain level. Doesn't mean that someone's not as smart. It just means at that period of their time and in their life, that's where they are right now. So I want to then bring my recipe down to teach somebody who's at the elementary level, believing that they're not going to stay there.
Yeah. Awesome. Tim, what's something that nobody knows about you?
That I am more quiet than I let on. My quiet is my strength. Like I'm moved by music. Like when I go to my mother's house, we play, Vicente Fernandez. We play a lot of the old stuff. I love music. I'm moved by music. I like to be quiet. I like to be introspective, because the introspective side of me is the artist side of me. And when you see me on stage and I'm like unfolding on stage and I'm moving and I'm doing things, that's really coming naturally. But if I don't give myself time to just be alone and be reflective and listen to music and just enjoy my life, then I would never get to be the best version of myself out here. So I'm more quiet than people realize.
And when you're quiet, is that when you come up with your best ideas, when you're by yourself?
Heck yes, man. I'm coming up with stuff in my quiet time. Like I came up with one today. Like a lot of times you notice that people like try to offend us. Like people try to they get mad and they want to push your buttons. Well, an offense puts you on a defense.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody says like, hey, Albert, man, this guy's that driven, but I don't know, man. I heard he talked behind your back. So it's weird. You'll meet that guy and the offense puts you on the defense. Okay? And so today I came up with something. When you're offended, that person that's trying to offend you and hurt you, they're trying to change, watch this, your way of thinking, the way of talking, and your way of walking. Watch how powerful this is. When somebody is messing with us, it messes with our thinking. It sometimes messes with the way we talk. We almost want to like talk back about them.
Yeah.
And it can also mess up your stride. I notice when I feel like someone's being negative towards me, I kind of lose my stride a little bit. So you got to be very careful when someone's trying to offend you of how you let that affect you. But I learned that in my quiet time today.
Wow. So you still have some people sometimes that would say something about you?
Yeah, but they'll do it about anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, I know like so many cool entertainers that are just like the nicest people in the world, like a Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
I was in a conversation probably a month ago with a bunch of rich guys, and they were talking not so good about Tom Hanks. How you say something negative about Mr. Rogers? So I think that it's not so much the subject.
Yeah.
It's the person. And let me just say something about what we're doing.
Yeah.
So we're drinking water, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've always said this. I don't mind this glass. What I have to be concerned with is what I put in the glass. Okay? So if I put in water, it's good for me. If I put in something toxic, I'm going to become toxic. And so I think many people talk against you, myself, Barack Obama, whoever, Oprah. It's not us. They're toxic people. Yeah.
And a few last things, Tim, before we wrap this up. One of the biggest issues that I'm starting to encounter, because now we're growing and we went from a small portion of people to like a lot of people now.
Yeah.
And I've spoken to Patrick Bet-David on the you did you meet him last time?
Yeah, and I'm proud of him, man. He's doing huge things.
Yeah, and he runs his PHP firm. You know Grant, you know Ed, and a lot of these guys have told me, like, Albert, look, it's normal. This is gonna happen as you grow. You're gonna have more fires to put off. It's gonna be more pressure and all this. So now that there's more people, I'm dealing with more fires, but I'm also dealing with like triangulation and gossipers and things like that. He said, she said, that said, wah. Albert, did he know this? That he said that. Still, he said that, and it's like, and usually it's like 15%.
Yeah,
That's doing all that. The other 85% are super clear.
Okay.
But these 15% are spreading, and that's just, I mean, it's just the truth in from my situation, and I'm sure a lot of other business owners or people that are running a team or something like that, there's going to be that person or those two people that like to spread gossip, and I don't like gossip, and I feel that it starts becoming toxic. Like, is there a way to clean it up?
I have an easy answer for you it's gonna free you up, okay? So in the Bible it says that there is wisdom in the multitude of counselors. And so what I do, I have a therapist. My therapist is about 72 years of age. He's a man. And I'll be honest with you, I go every other week. Sometimes I don't have much to confess or talk to him about, but I just like being in his presence and knowing that if I'm going through something, I could talk to somebody. So it's accountability. But then I have about 5 guys in my life that I could talk to them about anything. And so I think that's important for you. And I would like to be one of those guys, and I think I kind of am, that if you're going through something, you call one of the 5, or maybe put 2 or 3 of us on the phone at one time and say, hey, this is what happened. You know, I did this article, and I wrote this article for the New York Times, and they came against me. Because those are the kind of problems you're going to face in the years to come.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get that big. Okay. So it's going to go from, small time gossip of somebody who talked about you at a restaurant.
Yeah.
It gets bigger.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but if you have guys like us that are seasoned veterans, we're going to say, Albert, that's just small chatter.
Yeah.
Let's just put that aside. And let me tell you what one guy said to me who was super rich, and he's a guy that lives in Beverly Hills. He said, Tim, there will always be a piece of furniture in your living room that you don't like. There'll be someone who hates you, someone who tries to get you, someone who lies about you. There will always be a piece of furniture that you got to constantly maneuver around. Think about that. You got a piece of furniture right now in your life? So do I. Everybody who's doing something, there's a piece of furniture in our beautiful room that I somehow got to maneuver around.
Yeah.
That's the key. Okay? So no matter what anybody says about you, how they hate, how they try to take you out, it ain't going to work. We just maneuver around that furniture on a daily basis.
And then one tip for a person that hears Tim said something about me, or Grant said something about me. Like, for example, if somebody tells you, hey, Tim, did you know that Albert was talking shit about you?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure you're not going to believe it. You're going to be like, I don't think Albert would ever say something about me.
No, I would say that, number one, I would consider the source. Who's the person that said it? Don't ever forget this. If you have blue glasses on, you see blue. If you have black glasses on, you see black. So depending on the lens is how you see. So there's going to be always haters that are going to try to divide all of us. That's just the way it's going to be. But you got to, number one, consider the source. And then the second thing is, what context was it said in? So then what a Kobe and Shaq should have done when people were saying, Shaq's talking crap on you, Kobe said you're talking crap on Shaq, because that's what they were going through, okay? Is we need to then call each other and say, hey, Grant, somebody told me that you said this. It doesn't sound like you. Oh, man, I'd never say that. But I did say that, boom, consider the source and then go right to the person who's your real friend and say, what context did you say this in?
Why do you think most people don't do that? Don't do it that way. They just kind of go around and they make their own presumptions.
Because I really feel that a lot of us, we have become mature in success, but we're emotionally immature.
Yes.
And I learned that from my therapist. I used to have a therapist, and she was my therapist for 25 years, and she taught at USC. African American lady. She was amazing, man. She was my therapist up until she was 86 years of age. But she said about me, she says, Tim, you are so mature as a leader, but you are emotionally immature when it comes to certain relationships in your life. Because as you know, when you're fighting just to like make it like we did,
Yeah.
we miss some things. But so I had to go back and learn to be very mature and more mature in my personal relationships, which I have the last 15 years. So I think a lot of it's immaturity.
Got it, Tim. So I have a surprise for you for dinner, and you're gonna love it. But before we head out there, and I want to tell people where to follow you. But I want you were gonna mention something about Driven before I forget that.
Yeah, I was just gonna say Driven blew me awake. Driven was out of this world, okay? And I would say that Driven was one of the best conferences that I have spoken at in the last 4 years. And I mean that. And I get to speak all over the world. I had 3,000 in Rome. I had 2,700 in Vienna, Austria. I just said that. This last Driven was one of the best conferences in the last 4 years. So when's the next one?
September 18th.
Okay. Los Angeles?
Los Angeles.
Okay,
yes.
so I'm challenging people to come from everywhere. New York, Miami, Chicago, Houston, Texas, Dallas, Texas. Let it be a gathering of not just our people in culture, but our people in culture as far as world shakers. That's what you're doing. You are gathering together world shakers and history makers. So Driven is going to be amazing. Whatever you have to do, get there, because you're going to learn principles that are going to change your life. And some of you are one conversation away from greatness, one conversation away, and it's going to happen at Driven.
And most people are also 1 inch away, right?
Heck yes.
And 99% of the people quit when they're like 1 more inch.
Yeah.
Like what separates those?
Well, we separate. Because what we're going to do when they're 1 inch away, we're going to push them.
There you go. So you're going to be part of Driven then?
Yeah, I care.
You're always.
I'm going to be part of Driven, whether I'm sitting in the front row or being like, just being around you guys. I'm part of what you're about.
Yeah.
I'm into watching your growth. It's going to be a beautiful thing to see you just take over. And it's your time. And so... keep averaging 32 points a game, and I'll see you at the All-Star game.
Hey, brother, I appreciate you so much, and everything that I do, and I know everything you do is because we want to help people, right?
Yes.
We want to make sure that we change those lives, especially for me. Like, I have this special place in my heart where I keep my Latino community, because I know that a lot of them feel like they can't make it.
Yeah.
And I know that they could make it.
That's right.
And then you inspired me to be better. And because of all the relationships that you have also referred me to, it's made me better and better. So I'm so thankful for your friendship.
You're welcome.
I want to let everybody know where they could follow you.
Yes.
And I'm going to be at your next event.
Yes.
I want to go your next Sunday.
Yes.
So you're going to be in Beverly Hills too, I think.
Yeah, I'm going to be in Beverly Hills March 1st, and we usually do that like once a month.
Yeah.
But if they just go to Tim Storey, STOREY.com, then, we have our Tim Storey official Instagram, then our Facebook. But also on the timstorey.com, if you know somebody that's struggling with addiction, alcohol addiction, drug addiction, you'll see the rehab center that I have in Tucson. We have place for 160 people, and we take insurances that aren't even that great. So, we really, really are changing people's lives. And a lot of people that were going to take their lives are living great lives because of the center that we're part of.
And you've helped close people to me, people that are part of the company, tremendously with your coaching. So I definitely want to give you a big shout out, and I want to refer you to a lot of people, because a lot of people need your help.
Yeah.
It's incredible what you've done to one person that I have in mind.
Yeah.
But I know you've done it to a lot of other people.
Yeah, so I still do that. I coach 40 hours a month in the midst of all the stuff I do. I'll never stop coaching. So that's also on timstorey.com. If you want to coach with me, you could do like an hourly coaching session, and we make you pay. You know why? Because you're worth it.
Yeah.
You know what I used to do in the old days, because, you know, I'm so nice. I'd be like waiting by my Zoom at 8 a.m. and they never showed up.
Yeah.
You know, when they pay the money, they show up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have a curriculum. I take you through it. I lift up your life, help you get through obstacles, turn your setbacks to comebacks, and help you to go beyond.
Appreciate you so much, brother. Thank you.
Real brothers.